this match will be senior official James Hunter.
Jakob, we are starting off hot and heavy. AML Wrestling presents 3 the hard way. And Mr. Number 1, George South, our AML champion, is calling his shot tonight. He wants to go on first so he can go on back, make a little money at that merchandise table. And I don't blame him. He is old school as it gets. And he is flanked by Zane and Dave Dawson, the current AML Wrestling World Tag Team Champions. And I can't think of a better way to start off a exciting lineup of matches. So let's just go ahead and get it started with the championship match right off the bat, baby.
You know something, C.W. Anderson? The world is fixing to stop. You know, I arrived today to the building after being up for 5 stinking weeks. And I got through followed by, and I thought it was going to be an easy ride. And then AML, the greatest wrestling organization in the world, tells me that I've got C.W. Anderson. And not only do I have C.W. Anderson today, but I get him after he just fought the lunatic New Jack. So now I'm a little bit worried. You know, they give me a clipboard, and they tell me to do all these things that an AML champion's supposed to do. But C.W. Anderson, all I know to do is to break people's face. And that's what I'm going to do today. You're coming after what's mine, what feeds my kids. And you're coming what pays my bills. And I'm telling you, C.W. Anderson, this ain't about nothing else but me and you. This may be wrestling, this may be fighting. But I got something that you don't got. And that's called the Dawson Boys. So come and get it. I'm waiting.
Danke for the house champion. Oh, the one-man riot, Zane Dawson, laying a tongue lashing down on this AML crowd here in Lexington, North Carolina.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys one thing. The Dawson brothers are way more intimidating in person than they are on the internet or television or wherever you're looking.
You ain't lying. They are monstrous men, and they are very intimidating.
And here he comes, Jakob, the current number 1 contender for the AML Wrestling Championship. Earned this right at our last event, and there he is, being accompanied by Miss Brittany, the Rottweiler, C.W. Anderson.
When you flip through the pages of wrestling history, and Anderson has never been the top dog at any company. But today, I rewrite history as I close the chapter that is the champ, George South, and turn the page to the new champ, the new leader of the pack at AML, your new champion, the Rottweiler, C.W. Anderson.
He is all business right now.
Yeah, he has his eyes set on that championship that Mr. Number 1 George South, our current champion, holds. And there's none greater than C.W. Anderson in being able to end a I'm fine, Miss Brittany.
Hey, she did it again. She's paying an awful lot of attention to you, Jakob Hammermeyer.
I don't know anything about that, Coach. I'm pretty sure you were just rubbing my shoulders.
So we're just going to deny it.
She is very nice to ask how I'm doing today, being that I did save that building full of puppies, kittens, and babies during that fire, which of course is why my voice is hoarse all show long.
Miss Brittany accompanying the Rottweiler to the ring, the Elizabeth to his Savage.
Oh, he's such an angry man. I mean, why would she be talking to me like that? He's so angry.
She's just friendly, Jakob. There is no ulterior motive there, but try
Coach,
telling that to C.W. Anderson.
Coach, that was the best massage I've ever gotten in my life. Don't tell
Your secret is safe with me and the thousands watching this.
Hold on a stinking minute.
Oh no, George has got a mic.
Let me remind you, rednecks, who I am. Now shut up. I'm old enough to be your daddy, and I've made more money than any of you have ever made in your life.
He does have a point.
But you are still the ugliest group of people I've ever seen around here. You shut up, you fat pig. You ain't lost no weight since the last time you were here.
Oh.
Pull your pants up, you fat pig. I'm 60 years old and I look better than you.
Ooh.
You're a fat pig.
Calling it like he sees it.
In 2 seats. I hope you bought 2 of them. Listen, I ain't got to get insulted here. I got one question for the enforcer. What the heck is she doing out here? This ain't a tag match.
He's a Rottweiler now.
No, listen.
He's not going to like being called.
Shut up.
He's a very
not
angry
at all.
man.
Listen.
Not at all.
You get her out of here, or I'm not defending my belt for these stupid pig farmers.
And Miss Brittany's out here for moral support. She's like a cheerleader.
Is Lexington known for pig farming?
I don't know. I'm not from around here.
Neither am I.
And introducing first, the challenger. He resides from Raleigh, North Carolina. He weighed in at 225 pounds and was accompanied to the ring by Miss Brittany Marie, the Rottweiler, and the current #1 contender for the AML Wrestling Champion, C.W. Anderson.
Look at that viciousness in the challenger, CW. I think he's got some choice words for you
And
later,
his
Jakob.
opponent, he was accompanied by the AML Wrestling World Tag Team Champions, the Dawson Brothers. He resides from Charlotte, North Carolina. He weighed in at 235 pounds. He is the AML Wrestling Champion, Mr. #1, George South.
Now there's a champion. There is a champion, a physical specimen, a veteran of the game. What more do you want, Coach, out of your champion?
I do got to say, George South is a legend in professional wrestling, our current AML
Fighting
Wrestling champion. And this is going to be a big one. C.W. Anderson, Mr. #1, George South. We're starting off hot here in Lexington, North Carolina. Jakob, I can't wait, buddy. And here we go, the tradition. A scratch in a jacket, a scratch in your rear end, letting our ringside attendant know exactly how important
if that's what he does with his ring jacket.
Yeah, that's how he treats his ring jacket. Can you imagine how he treats people that treat Miss Brittany Marie wrong?
Coach.
You don't need to be quiet on my account.
They were the most graceful hands I've ever touched.
I don't want to say anything,
What?
but he was staring a hole in you, buddy.
But he must have been looking at you.
Oh, he might have been. And the bell has
He
rung.
must have been looking at you.
The bell has rung, and we are off. Senior official James Hunter will be the man counting the 1, 2, 3 or the submission here. C.W. Anderson trying to get this crowd here in Lexington behind him, and I don't think he really needed to do that. George South makes friends wherever he goes.
Yeah, see, he's trying to help the local economy. Trying to
help the unemployment. Yeah,
he's trying to inspire. As champion, it's your job. You have a social responsibility to become a leader of your community. And George South has done just that in attempting to lower unemployment rates, attempting to motivate some of these AML fans to possibly better their lives. And I, for one, can't stop appreciating a man of that kind of caliber.
My goodness. George South taken down strongly with that shoulder tackle from C.W. Anderson. Did you see the look on George's face? He didn't know what hit him.
C.W. Anderson is so explosive. I wouldn't be surprised if you could honestly get injured off a shoulder tackle. That's how quick, explosive C.W. Anderson is.
Exactly. C.W. Anderson, a former AML Wrestling World Tag Team Champion with the Extreme Horsemen, lost their titles in a, let's just say, a situation that C.W. Anderson was not too happy about. Disbanded the Extreme Horsemen to focus on a singles career trajectory path here, trying to focus on single titles.
He's trying to eat, Coach. He's done with the teams. He's looking out for himself. The Rottweiler is here to eat, and George South might be on the opposite end of the Rottweiler.
Exactly. C.W. Anderson had to go through a buzzsaw of competition to earn this #1 contendership right. Lastly, defeating Brandon Scott in a #1 contenders match, a hard-hitting match to earn this right. And George has held on tightly to this AML championship for several months now.
Very
Since
impressive
becoming, oh, wait a
for
minute.
that big hip toss.
Reverse by C.W. Anderson, and we're rocking and rolling here early. Big slam to the mat. Oh my goodness, sending George to the outside.
Did you see how quickly he was able to bounce back up? That is the mark of a fighting champion.
I just think that was basic physics. The amount of force that C.W. Anderson sent his feet into his face.
The physics of a man's heart is what it was, Coach. The physiology of pure testosterone and red American blood coursing through the veins of the champion, taking us to where we need to go. So, thank you for the house show.
So that's how we're going to handle it tonight, huh? Par for the course, right?
Like I see it, that's what they pay me to do.
Exactly, exactly. Both of these men, veterans in the pro wrestling industry, veterans of AML wrestling, both have been here for several years. George South won the title at our day after event, after WrestleCade weekend, with a little bit of help from the Dawsons, but I gotta say, he has been a fighting champion. He has been able to defend it and retain it for several events, several months, and C.W. Anderson's looking to derail that streak tonight.
I honestly do not understand why you have to cast aspersions on the Dawsons and George South like that. I mean, just because they're in his corner and you are going to sit there and insinuate that they have a hand in trying to assist the fighting champion as he takes on all oncomers. He has a target on his back.
Look,
Coach.
no insinuation whatsoever. You can go back on the AML Wrestling Network and watch these events that I'm talking about and see for your face. Like I say, roll that beautiful bean footage, and you can see for yourself exactly how George South won the AML Wrestling Championship.
I watch it every day. I know exactly how it happened.
You go back just so that you can hear yourself talk about it.
That is the subplot of the reason why I go
I'm
back
starting to
and
get you figured out, Mr. Hammermeyer. CW reverses George into the corner, takes him down with a big elbow, goes for the cover.
Crashing to the sternum of the champion, does the back elbow.
Only a 2 count, goes to the head, take him over. Old school wrestling at its best. I am loving this. As a pro wrestling coach, I can appreciate the pureness of this match that we are witnessing right now.
C.W. Anderson has had a steady control of this contest, as much as I hate to admit, Coach.
Talking to C.W. Anderson before the event jumped off, and he was in New Jersey wrestling New Jack this weekend, and now he's got George South today. He's had a heck of a weekend, but he's not lightening up. He wants this title more than anything right now. It is his laser focus.
Off goes the challenger, Duxton. Oh! Body.
So only a 2 count, right back to the head. Sends George right back over, shoulders down.
Last time, he got a near fall last time. Why not go for it again?
George South, a wily veteran in the professional wrestling business. You are not going to pin him by simply putting him in a headlock down on the mat. Zane and Dave Dawson circling the ring like buzzards, looking for the kill. Back into the corner. Oh, George is able to move out of the way. C.W. Anderson eats that turnbuckle. There it is. There's the claw. The claw.
Is C.W. Anderson going to tap?
It's almost like we've been transported back to Texas. WCCW, the Von Erichs. George South has that claw firmly planted on the skull of C.W. Anderson.
George South's physique trumps trumps carries by miles.
Look, you couldn't even get through that yourself. You were like, there's no way they're going to buy this, but I'm going to try it anyway. Folks, if you don't know who Kerry Von Erich is, Google, and you will find out how absurd that statement is. Miss Brittany Marie trying to get behind C.W. Anderson, who works off of that claw. Oh, and George South firmly reapplies it, and we're back where we started.
No,
yes, please. Dave Dawson threatening to put the claw on Jakob.
And what's so debilitating about the claw is George South has not one, but two, but three, but 4 fingers and a thumb on different pressure points on the skull of his opponent.
Exactly. Good point from you, Jakob. The finger and the thumb pressing against the temple, a pressure point, a natural flow of blood, and CW fights out of it.
Oh! Gets dropped on the back of his head for good measure, though.
George South was in that headlock a few too many times in this matchup. He knew what was coming and was able to get CW Anderson up and take him down with a headlock suplex. And the champion is currently on top and in control.
It was a beautiful use of lowering your center of gravity by dropping your hips and then getting leverage as you're able to lift a heavier challenger in CW Anderson.
Jakob, I want to point out, you notice that knee drop from George South. George South has been called, oh, wait a minute, cover.
Is this it?
Oh, only a 2 count.
Oh,
George
no,
South,
I think he might have landed on something.
George South has been called Ric Flair's favorite opponent. Ric Flair recommended and requested George South many times during his Georgia and Mid-Atlantic careers. So Mr. Number One is not a stranger to some of these tactics that CW Anderson is using, but he's seen just about every trick in the book, and he is a believer and a practitioner of every trick, raking the eyes of CW Anderson to get his advantage back.
That veteran instinct. I think he's shaking off the fact that he landed on his keys in the front of his tights.
Was that it?
I think he keeps his keys there. I do. I've seen
That's a strange place to keep them, but
hey,
I understand
the money's in the brute, brother.
There you go, exactly. Miss Brittany Marie trying to get this crowd here in Lexington, North Carolina behind CW Anderson.
That's...
George South says that's it, just like Babe Ruth calling his shot.
I'm telling you, Coach, it was like lotion on my traps.
If she comes over here again,
I'm going to totally push her onto you, obviously.
No, wait, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I've known CW Anderson for years, but I think even he would still.
We got an airplane spin, Coach. Sorry to cut you off about how much you care about Miss Brittany Marie. But we have a push-up.
Oh, wait a minute. You on old school, you got it. CW Anderson has the sleeper firmly entrenched around the throat of George South, and oh, wait a minute, it's Dave Dawson coming in this ring. CW Anderson sends him into him. Shotgun super kick, that's it. Wait a minute, James, turn around.
Oh, Dave Dawson is hurt.
CW's got him down. James, turn around.
Is hurt.
Dave is ringside.
Dave Dawson, one of the tag team champions, is injured. Is he okay? Are you okay?
You have got to be kidding me.
Are you okay?
CW Anderson taking out Zane
What
Dawson.
happened?
Oh,
What
wait
I
a minute.
missed? What I missed?
George has got something on it. Got something in his hand. And wait a minute. Puts it into his trunks. Rolls CW Anderson over. No.
Might have been a closed fist.
Not like this. 2, 3, and George South is still your AML
Here's your
champion.
winner and still the AML Wrestling Champion, Mr. Number One, George South.
George South had something in or on his hand. I couldn't see it, but he reached in, grabbed it, laid out CW Anderson, took it off, ditched it into his tights, and Mr. Number One is leaving here our AML Wrestling Champion. And I'm absolutely disgusted, Jakob.
I'll tell you what he was holding in his hand, Coach. It was the right hand of justice as he delivered one swift punch to CW Anderson. And I don't even think he's still woken up at this point.
CW Anderson is not moved since being rolled over.
Miss Brittany Marie has entered the ring to check on CW Anderson. I think he might be knocked out.
George South lives to fight another day as your AML Wrestling Champion. Miss Brittany Marie checking to make sure that CW Anderson is conscious at this point, Jakob. And senior official James Hunter checking on him as well. And I don't think that's the last that we're going to see of the Rottweiler here in the championship race at AML Wrestling. The fans here in Lexington showing their appreciation for the effort for the Rottweiler. And you know he's got to be beside himself knowing that this was just a missed opportunity.
Today I present myself before you in the ashes, what was C.W. Anderson. Today I present myself before you lost, broken, because the demons I've run from for so long have finally caught up with me and got the better of me. So for the past few weeks, I've been obsessed over it. Obsessed over fighting with those demons. And in the midst of all this, AML tells me they're going to give me another shot at the title because they want to see South versus Anderson too. Because the last time made everybody believe in time travel. You see, George, we did it. We took everybody back in time to when it was professional wrestling, and we made them believe. I even made you believe, George. You see, that night, July 28th, at the AML training facility, lines in the sand, in your corner, you're going to have your Dawson boys, the ones that cost me the title. And in my corner, I'll have no one, because my direction has faded. You see, George, in the wild, an animal, in this case a Rottweiler, that's broken, torn down, backed into a corner with nothing to lose, is the most dangerous thing you can encounter. So look into my eyes, George. Look deeply. You see all this pain, frustration, anger, and all these demons. That night, I'm going to take all that and rain down the apocalypse on you, George, while capturing that AML title. And then I'm going to step out of the ashes, rise like the phoenix, and start a new chapter that is C.W. Anderson as champ and leader of AML. You think you can stop me, George? You think you and the Dawsons got what it takes to stop me? I'll leave you with this. That night, I was brought into this world kicking, screaming, covered in somebody else's blood. I have no problems going out the same way to get that title. I'm coming for you, George. I'm coming for you. And all these demons are coming with me.
You know something, C.W. Anderson? As you notice, this is my pro wrestling school where I spend most of my time. But tonight you don't hear people getting thrown around. You don't hear people screaming or hollering or saying, enough, coach, enough, George. But what you're going to hear tonight, C.W. Anderson, is a man speaking from his heart. You see, I let everybody leave for one reason. So when you see this, and I know you will, that you're going to see the AML World Heavyweight Champion talking to you from where he feels at home, my wrestling school. You know, the way this thing's supposed to work is you get a title shot and I beat you and you leave. What's not supposed to happen is you start working harder than you've ever worked. You're back in the gym 2 or 3 times a day. You're back in a wrestling school teaching and learning. So what you have decided to do is almost break in line and come after my AML World Heavyweight title. Nobody gave you this second shot. You earned it. So I guess what we got to do, CW, is we got to do what we do best, and that is professional wrestling. But I promise you one thing, CW, it's going to be different. You came at me with everything you had, and the harder I hit you, the faster you got up. But I'm going to tell you this real simple, CW, right here from my home, that I promise you that I'm going to have my Dawsons in my corner. And just to remind you that last time, you didn't have anybody in your corner. It was you against me and the two baddest men that walked this earth. But I guess you didn't learn. And I guess that you're going to come back with nobody else in your corner, and you're going to fight me one more time. Well, listen to me, C.W. Anderson. Maybe you should have listened to these demons, to these messages that have been trying to tell you, don't do it. Don't do it. But I know that you're hard-headed as a tree stump, and I know that you're mean as a rattlesnake, and I know that you're coming after the most prized trophy in all of professional wrestling. So AML, I'm going to promise you this, that me and my Dawsons are coming, and we're coming hard. You know, CW, they're calling this lines in the sand. But you know, last time when we met, I drew that line in the sand, and I dared you to step over. And you did. Not only did you step over that line, but you punched me right in the face. So maybe this time, at Lines in the Sand, Sunday, July the 28th, my town, Winston-Salem, South and Anderson too. But let me just remind you that my Dawsons do not go out of my sight. My Dawsons do not leave me unattended. So CW, you better keep going to the gym, and you better keep going to those training centers. You better keep teaching, because I promise you this AML belt is mine, and I'm going to do everything I got to keep it. But let me just leave you with this. You're alone right now, CW. Nobody likes you. So you bring this, and you bring all of these demons that's in your head, and you better listen to them, because I'm not playing this time. Because listen, you have to beat me, and you have to beat my Dawsons. CW, bring it, because I'm ready, so bring it.
Okay, you win. You win. You got it. I know. There's no such thing as angels. No such thing as good people, which means I'm not a good person. You win. You've been constantly battling me in my head, and you win. You get that? You win. You get that, CW. George South, you get that, CW. The voice in my head wins, George, and you're going down. I'm finishing you, George South. The CW that people fear is back. It's time to hunt, George. You're the prey. I'm getting the title and moving on. This CW's here, whether you like it or not.
Soothing music soothes the soul, they say. But who is they, CW? Is it George South? Who is they, preaching a word that he doesn't even believe? He goes out there as the AML champion and talks down to people, but yet sings the verses of hallelujah. These men in front of you, CW, are all evil, but honest. You know all of our intentions, just like we knew all of yours. You got off the path for a long time, CW, and pretended that you were someone that you were not. But you are back. Call it karma. Call it whatever you like. It's destiny. You join us against CW because that is your destiny. It's not long now. It's not long now that we prove that the greatest trick that my father ever pulled was convincing the world I no longer exist.
You're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be gone. I've kept you at bay for so long. My angels kept you at bay for so long. You're not supposed to be there. You're not talking to me. I don't like who I am when we talk. That's why my angels kept you at bay. I'm a good guy now. I'm not that CW anymore. When you talk to me, I'm the CW that people fear. I'm the CW that people don't want to get in the ring with. I don't like talking to you, but when I talk to you, I don't have my angel. I'm confused. I don't know what to do. It makes me frustrated. But I tell you what, is that what they want? See, I'm not going to hurt George. I just want the title. But if you keep talking, I'm going to end George. It's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the CW that people are afraid to get in the ring with. I'm going to be the CW that people fear. It's okay. That's all right. I can be that guy. That's who I'm going to be. You want that CW? You got him. Where did he get a look at me?
That's right! World champ! That's right! Shut up, stupid!
After almost 40 years in wrestling, Mr. Number One George South is experiencing a renewal in his career. He defeated his former student Caleb Conley back in November, day after WrestleCade, to become the AML Wrestling champion. And since then, George South has beaten a who's who to defend this title. And
Everyone that has stepped in front of him, he's beaten.
yeah, but I got to tell you what, his most difficult title defense was against the Rottweiler, C.W. Anderson. Back in April, it was considered a pro wrestling clinic. Anderson took South to the limit, but came up short. Anderson, came up short because of the Dawson brothers and their usual tactics. And I have no doubt that George South wants a microphone. Making friends wherever he goes, Brad. There we go. Oh, he swerved me. And contrary to what people think, it is not a world championship. That is George South's verbiage. We just let him say it.
You got the Dolphins with it, you can say what you want.
Exactly. That's how I look at it.
You're looking at your world's heavyweight AML champion. And there ain't nothing all you stupid rednecks can do about it. That's right. Hey, now listen. They ain't nothing. Shut up, you old goat. Shut up.
Well, that's a new one. That's a new
You
barnyard
see,
animal.
I am your world champion. Nothing that you know anything about. And I'm here for one reason. You see, Tim Blaze, your mama's got it on you, fat pig.
There we go. That's the animal I'm
You see, Tim Blaze, yes, listen. I know how much you're a fan of C.W. Anderson. Now shut up. You, Tracy Mars and Brian Hawks, know without a shadow of a doubt that he's lost his freaking mind. You know that.
He's got a point.
Now you know it. C.W. Anderson has lost his freaking mind, Dawson. And you expect me to come out here and give him another title shot? Oh, shut up and let me talk. No, you ran your fat mouth all night. Now it's my turn. You ain't washed them blue jeans since last month. Come on, man. Wash them blue jeans. Listen. No, shut up and let me finish. I ain't good. No, shut up. Let me finish. You shut up. Get out of here, you fat cow. Get out of here. I don't like you anyway. Sit up here in the good seats. I can't see you in them cheap seats. I can't even see you in them dark seats.
Look, he's selling the front row experience.
No, I'm gonna talk all night. Where you gotta go? You ain't got a job.
Oh,
You ain't gotta get up early. Where you gotta go, huh? Hey, you live off the government. What you worried about?
he gets them riled up, Brad.
Yes, he does.
One stipulation. Everybody knows, especially us, C.W. Anderson is hearing demons. He's hearing angels. He's hearing all these stupid voices. When what he needs to listen to is us. C.W. Anderson needs to leave Winston-Salem and not come out here. But let me tell you something, Dawsons. You and our brother, you will not leave my side, all right? That's part of this. You stay right here on this ring. So listen, what we're going to do once and for all is we're going to prove to you stupid hillbillies that C.W. Anderson does not belong. Shut up. I'll talk all night. I don't care. Don't be doing this, huh? Don't be doing that. That's what you need to do at the supper table, you fat pig.
Ouch.
Come on, tell me to stop. We're gonna prove, boys, that C.W. Anderson is a lunatic. And he don't belong in a wrestling ring. He belongs in a straitjacket. In a straitjacket, locked up in Morganton, North Carolina. Right, Tim Lace? Yeah, Broughton. They'll put him away.
Wow.
Listen, this is it right here. Tim Blaze, if you know what's good for you and your friend C.W. Anderson, you will announce me and you will let us raise our hand and walk out of here, referee. C.W. Anderson is not in shape to fight me tonight. You know that. You saw the stupid videos.
Now, wait a minute. This is the match I wanted to see, Brad.
Yeah, positively it is, and you know, I hate to say it, but George may have a point. We have seen C.W. Anderson be, quite frankly, driven mad by a series of videos. He's been almost stalked.
Yep. But that's C.W. Anderson's music, or at least the start of it.
If I was George South, I wouldn't want to face someone who's been driven nuts either.
I know those videos they've been posting on social media makes you wonder about the mental stability of the Rottweiler, C.W. Anderson, and the anonymous messages he's been receiving seems to have pushed him over the edge. And you got to ask, how is it going to affect his performance here tonight, Brad? But there he is, the Rottweiler, C.W. Anderson. Looks to be in the best shape I've ever seen him in. I've known C.W. Anderson for years, and he has his eye on the prize. Broke up the Extreme Horsemen in order to pursue singles championships here in AML Wrestling.
He's in the best shape I've ever seen him in physically. But
You got a point.
to
Excellent
George's
point.
to George South's point, what kind of shape is CW in mentally? There are angels and demons fighting for the soul of C.W. Anderson.
Oh, wait a minute. CW's got the microphone. Let's hear his retort to Mr. Number One.
South is saying that CW is going to forfeit. I don't know if I buy that.
I don't know about you, George, but I think I'm in pretty damn good shape right now to wrestle.
The ring is clearing.
Yeah, they're giving him the stage.
There's an eerie feeling in this building.
For the last month, you're right, George. I've been hearing voices, demons, angels, and finally the demon won. Because now you get the C.W. Anderson that ruled ECW.
Uh-oh. You pushed a man too far. You
George
corner
South.
a dog.
George South, I have the microphone. Now look at me. when I'm talking to you.
Look at the concentration in the eyes of Anderson.
The ECW, CW Anderson that everybody feared is looking at you.
Uh-oh.
But the one thing I do have to say over the past few weeks is apologize to you fans for the crazy promos because I'm a flawed man.
No need to apologize, CW.
And I will beg for your forgiveness because my name's CW Anderson. And
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The video screen here above us.
There's the father.
Wait a minute.
There's an eerie calm in this room right now.
I'm trying so hard to hold this together.
Wait a minute. The video on screen here, ladies and gentlemen, says, don't forget who you are. You CW Anderson, wait a minute. What is that holding the paper down?
I know what that is, and I know what that represents, and I told you I had an eerie feeling about this.
No, you have got to be kidding me. Whoa! What? Wait a minute!
Evil is alive in AML!
That's Steve Corino! Steve Corino!
The son of evil is here!
But he doesn't work here, Brad. He works for that other company.
It is chilling in this arena. The son of evil is here.
Steve Corino is here in AML Wrestling. Former Extreme Horseman with CW Anderson. The messages all make sense now, Brad. The picture of Kevin Sullivan, the spike. Don't forget who you are, the Demons. I got chills, Brad. But you gotta ask, why is Steve here? Is he here for CW or is he here against CW?
He said, don't forget who you are. CW has tried to rebuild himself as a good man. But the evil is alive.
He did mention about being the angel on one shoulder and the demon on the other, but which one is he?
Anderson, like he just came out of a trance. Anderson is looking at the man that he has logged so many miles all around this globe.
Oh my God!
And the horsemen embrace. The evil is here.
Steve Corino and CW Anderson reunited, and it feels so good.
CW Anderson.
I've never seen George South scared a day in my life. For all intents and purposes, Steve Corino should not be in this building, but yet, Brad, here he is. George South is beside himself, almost begging James Hunter.
It's been you all along. My very best friend and the Extreme Horseman original, Steve Corino.
Anderson can barely speak. Look at Anderson has, it's like a transformation physically since he saw Corino.
Oh my goodness, the king of old school's got a mic.
Can he get on a mic? Can we use this?
I may have been gone physically for 3 years, but I've always been on your shoulder. You've never been a good guy, CW, but they accept you for who you are.
Chills.
You know what you gotta do. Whether it's me, or Kevin Sullivan, or King Curtis Ayakea, or the Purple Haze Mark Lewin, we're all watching. Do what needs to be done by any means necessary. George South, the devil is here!
Oh my gosh. What a proclamation from Steve Corino.
The son of evil. South is beside himself. South is furious.
I think Steve Corino just evens the odds in this matchup between George South and C.W. Anderson. Whatever it takes, any means necessary. Oh my gosh, Tim Blaze, let's get this going.
Introducing in his AML Wrestling Championship, introducing first, he's accompanied to the ring by none other than Steve Corino. He is from Raleigh, North Carolina, weighs in at 215 pounds. This is the Rottweiler, C.W. Anderson. And his opponent from Charlotte, North Carolina, weighs in at 235 pounds. He came to the ring with the Dawson brothers. He is the AML Wrestling Champion, Mr. #1, George South. Referee for this match, senior official, James Hunter.
There is an electricity in this arena right now. What we expected to be a classic professional wrestling match has now become so much more.
Brad, I surround myself by professional wrestling 7 days a week, almost 24/7, and I have gotten chills. My pulse has quickened. I think no matter what happens in this matchup, AML Wrestling has just made history. Shots fired, heard around the world, whatever you want to say. This is huge.
This is huge, and George South, like you said, George South is a veteran, 40-plus years in the game, and I've never seen him thrown out of his element quite like that. And it is spooky in here, I'm not going to lie.
A hush has fallen over the crowd here in Winston-Salem. They're not sure what to think. We've got a renewed vigor in C.W. Anderson. The mysterious appearance, the revelation that this mysterious messenger is the king of old school himself, Steve Corino, original Extreme Horseman. And I think it's funny that C.W. Anderson broke up the Extreme Horsemen to pursue singles gold, and it's the reunification of them that may ultimately give him the goal that he's been seeking.
It's much bigger than that.
Wow.
It's much bigger than that, and that takes nothing away from the reputation of the Extreme Horseman. CW changed his whole life. He focused his career as a singles wrestler. He focused his motivation to get in the best physical shape of his life, to cleanse his body, his mind, his soul. CW Anderson has tried to be a good man, but the demons...
wait a minute.
The demons would not let CW sleep at night.
C.W. Anderson just drew the proverbial line in the sand to Mr. #1, George South. The bell has rung. The tension is almost physical.
George doesn't know what to do. We talked about it earlier in the tag team title match. George South is a master at manipulating everyone at ringside, the fans into a frenzy, manipulating the official, manipulating his opponents. George South doesn't know what to do. The son of evil has completely befuddled the AML champion. South trying to get his game face on.
Almost like a dog that barks when it's scared, right?
Exactly.
Trying to give off this vibe that he's not scared, but we saw him earlier when Steve Corino walked into the building. He doesn't know his entire game plan has been thrown out the window. And I want to say that Steve Corino is the equalizer to the Dawsons on the outside.
It takes a hell of a man to neutralize the Dawsons.
Go ahead and say it again, Brad.
It takes a hell of a man to neutralize the Dawsons, but when you start talking about the spirit of King Curtis Iakea and the spirit of Kevin Sullivan and the evil that flows through the veins of Steve Corino, the evil that he's trying to motivate C.W. Anderson with, that's a whole other level. That takes the mind games that someone like George South plays, and that takes that up an enormous notch.
Very much so. George South isn't used to having mind games played with him.
Anderson runs through South again.
George South taking a chance, sliding out, catch a little bit of a breather. Of course, there's no timeouts in wrestling, but we do have a 10 count on the outside. And George South definitely, I think, is going to use every single second of that count.
Anderson seeking solace from the son of evil. Corino, we know, sold his soul a long time ago. But what about the soul of C.W. Anderson? If C.W. Anderson goes as far as it may take him, as far as it may be necessary to win the AML championship, to achieve that goal, will C.W. Anderson be able to look at himself in the mirror the next day?
Yeah, you almost have to wonder when Steve Corino said whatever it takes, how far is C.W. willing to go? Just goes to show you how important the AML Wrestling Championship here is for all of the competitors and talents that wrestle on a monthly basis in pursuit of that ultimate prize.
Shows how important it is that Steve Corino might be throwing his career away for it. I'm relatively certain he's not supposed to be here.
The last time South and Anderson faced off, it was a pro wrestling clinic, considered a must-see match and almost match of the year contender.
That was the only match in my sabbatical from the sport that I wish I could have been in this seat to call. And I am so thrilled and honored and privileged to be in this seat getting to call the return matchup.
And and that's saying something, Brad, because you've been around professional wrestling since before you could even drive a car. And have seen match after match, legends versus legends, and to say that about this match.
Monkey flip from Anderson!
What in the world? Oh my gosh! Right back to the headline. That's some old school wrestling right there, baby.
I tell you, George is, as the kids say, shook. George does not know what to make of all this. He has been the master manipulator in every title defense of both he himself and the Dawsons. He manipulates the referee. He works the crowd up into a frenzy. And Anderson and Corino have one-upped the mind games, the mental chess. I talked about it earlier. I said that the international superstars played a great game of checkers, but George was playing chess.
Exactly.
And I happen to know that there's a chess aficionado in the ring with George South right now, and I dare say that Corino and Anderson may have come up with the game plan to put George in checkmate with the title on the line tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that, because that pro wrestling is a very physical sport, but at the same time it's very mental. Techniques and tactics and mind games and all that stuff. And as you say, these two are two of the tops, if not just in AML, but in professional wrestling as a whole. And if you're not a student of the game, watching these two go at each other, there's a lot of little things going on that your normal Joe Schmo at home is not able to pick up.
George talking to the crowd. Oh,
yeah, that little telegraph, and CW is taking advantage of it. Right back to the headlock.
I hope we can get a shot of Corino at ringside. Corino is reacting to everything Anderson does. Corino is intently watching the man with whom he has traveled the globe. If CW leaves his feet, you see Corino's eyes perk up. Corino is intently watching his best friend of a number of years. I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. It's not like a manager. It's not like a coach. It's
almost a spiritual advisor.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And he's not calling plays to Anderson. Corino is just soaking it all in.
Yeah, when
it's like he's studying CW. It's like he's wanting to see if the angels or the demons are in the driver's seat.
CW Anderson took George South off of his feet a minute ago, and the smile on Steve Corino's face was just sadistic and evil. The only way I could describe it, the look on his face when CW Anderson just ate that turnbuckle. there's a lot going on in this match, Brad.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. It's an eerie feeling in this room. I know I said it a few moments ago, but when Carino stepped into this arena, I swear to God, the temperature dropped. The whole feeling in this room changed. There is a cosmic element to this matchup, and I don't know if Anderson and Carino, tasted the cosmic cookie before this matchup, but there is a cosmic, mythical element to what's going on here. Steve Carino does not invoke the name of the Father and the Son in vain. He does not invoke those images and that iconography without knowing what they mean to him and to Anderson and the imprint that those men left on this sport. Anderson and Carino are taking things up a notch in this title match, bottom line.
Oh, only a 2 count. Anderson kicking out with authority. And Brad, I'm glad you mentioned the fact of the feeling here in this room. We are doing our best to try and describe it and convey it to you watching, whether it's the High Spots Network, the AML Wrestling Network, however you are watching this matchup. But words cannot describe how these fans are interacting with what they are seeing here, the vibe, the temperature, the interactions with both of these men in this championship match. The best way to experience it is live.
Yeah, positively, and this is a world-class facility. I tip my hat to Brian and Tracy and Will and the whole team here at AML Wrestling. This is a first-class facility, one of the best facilities to see wrestling at in the Southeast, maybe in the country, quite frankly. And Mr. Number One may be back in the driver's seat. Mr. Number One may be back where he likes to be, which is controlling the pace of the match. There is no one, no one who does it better than George South. Control the pace, control the fight. Oh, he gouged him in the eye.
And you see that George South is taking liberties with the rules here, because unlike the Prestige Championship, the AML Wrestling Championship does not change hands on a disqualification. So champion's advantage definitely in full effect here.
Yeah, and it would not surprise me to see George take any shortcut to hold on to that title. Abdominal stretch, perhaps. Yes.
What better than an old school wrestling hold when you've got the king of old school in your corner?
And now I'm watching C.W. Anderson. Look at that top rope right there. Is the angel in the driver's seat, or is the demon in the driver's seat?
Yeah, he could very easily reach and grab that top rope.
He didn't, though. South takes Anderson down after Anderson was able to run through South earlier. South, abdominal stretch.
And that is old school wrestling. You get him in a hold, put him right back in it, let that damage do its damage. Yeah, let that damage take effect, just like these young kids watching. It's just like video games. You got to get that green down to yellow, get it down to orange.
George.
Hey, here comes the claw.
George was taught the tendon grip from the likes of Blackjack Mulligan. He has mastered that claw hold. It's all tendon strength. If you've ever been hit in the temple, you know how disorienting it is. It's all tendon strength. It's all grip strength right on your cranium. It disorients you. You start seeing stars.
And George South did apply this claw hold on C.W. Anderson in their last matchup, applied it on Billy Brash in his championship matchup.
Signs of life in the Rottweiler. Championship is on the line. Anderson, everything that he has done really in the past year plus has been gearing towards this moment, towards this matchup. Anderson wants to be the champion.
And we go right back to the claw. Just when we thought we had life in C.W. Anderson, we're back to the claw. And as you said, Brad, George South tempering the tempo of this match and keeping it to the speed that he feels comfortable.
Yeah, that's George South 101. I have been watching George South literally since I was a small child, and whenever he gets the opportunity, George South controls the tempo, controls the pace, he slows things down. He doesn't want to be disoriented. He doesn't want to be thrown out of his game. This could be all for Anderson. Anderson.
Able to hold up his arm with his other arm, not wanting to let it drop. Take a knockout loss here, but he's got some fight in him.
It's almost like trying to walk when you're intoxicated. When you're in that claw hold, your vision's blurred.
Whoa! Another fantastic old school as sleeper hold.
Anderson will now try to do the same to George South as he cuts the flow of blood to the brain. It is not an oxygen choke, it's a blood choke. He tries to cut the flow of blood to the brain. Oh, atomic drop, Backlund style.
Big neck breaker. He beat Billy Brash with that neck breaker back in May, but he's not going for the cover.
Carino has become more animated in the corner. He was very stoic for the first few moments. Carino, cover from Mr. Number One to retain the title. No, sir. And again, Anderson kicks out with a magnetism. He didn't just kick out, he sat up.
It's almost like you kicked his puppy. You've just made him mad.
It's almost like there's an electricity going through C.W. Anderson. He broke up the Extreme Horsemen to pursue this goal. He transformed his body into the best shape it's ever been in with this goal in mind. Everything in C.W. Anderson's life. Oh, God, dropped him on his head.
Gosh.
George dropped him on his head. Cover.
1, 2.
Woo, that was close.
And another defiant kick out by C.W. Anderson.
That was some viciousness from George.
George South usually is able to turn that up into a butterfly suplex, but I guess he needed that extra damage. Dropped C.W. Anderson right on the top of his head, so it was almost like a butterfly brain buster. That is just nasty.
Yeah, Anderson may still be disoriented from that claw hold.
There we go, going back to the well with those tactics is George South.
Now that's an oxygen choke. CW trying to pull himself up. Carino is screaming. Carino is screaming at the challenger. Everything in CW Anderson's life in the past several years has led up to this fight for the championship.
Big double-handed chop. Still not enough to put away the Rottweiler.
Another choke from South, and I don't want to write C.W. Anderson off because I think he's a hell of a competitor. I think he's a tough human being, and I think he's very mentally tough as well. But if you're C.W. Anderson and you're getting beat up right now, quite frankly, George South is controlling the match. Back in April, C.W. Anderson had tried to transform himself into a good person, and he came up short. Here tonight, C.W. Anderson has made it clear that he has let his demons take over. What happens next if he comes up short tonight? If he tried to be good and came up short, and then he embraced the evil within, what happens next if he comes up short again?
That's a good point. We may not see C.W. Anderson again. Another loss that may be too much for him to take, but the look on his face, oh my God.
Anderson is hearing voices other than Carino. I swear to God he is. Anderson has willed himself to his feet.
He's almost punch drunk at this point, Brad.
Yeah, but Anderson possesses some great tactics.
I got this, buddy.
That shotgun super kick, that concrete left.
Knee lift from Mr. Number One. Planting C.W. Anderson in the center of the ring. George South telling everybody that's it.
Oh, he stepped on the fingers or the wrist? I think he stepped on the fingers.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of pressure to break a finger like that. We train all of our students here at the training center to be mindful of those fingers.
And the Dawsons screaming at this crowd here in Winston-Salem. We thank you wherever you are in the world for joining us.
Oh, no, wait a minute, James, come on. Dave Dawson choking C.W. Anderson on the ropes, and Steve Carino looks beside himself trying to get the officials.
Yeah, Carino's getting hot about it on the floor, and I don't blame him. I am very surprised at the poise with which Steve Carino has carried himself on the outside. I am surprised that he has not advanced towards the Dawson brothers or towards George. George South is screaming at Anderson to quit. Carino is screaming that you cannot kill what is already dead. I'm telling you, Carino is invoking some spiritual motivation for Anderson here.
Juju, Mojo, use what word you want there, but it is definitely driving C.W. Anderson forward. Whereas a younger more inexperienced man would have quit by now. Steve Corino is willing C.W. Anderson to continue on.
Corino's shouting they believe in the real CW, but who is the real CW?
Steve Corino's got a fire going on right now. The look on his face, a furious anger, willing C.W. Anderson to his feet, and I think it's working.
They're playing spin, perhaps. Anderson trying to get out of it. No, George has got him. George has got him, and again, he will attempt to disorient the challenger. No, Anderson frees himself. Spinebuster!
Oh, wait a minute, Spinebuster, that's it. Cover him, CW.
Oh, God, the Dawson!
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Woo, the Dawson! Dave
No, wait a minute.
Dave Dawson had the foot of Hunter on this side. Zane Dawson came up on the other side. The Dawsons broke up the count. They took my chair. Swing and a miss. There goes Dave Dawson to the outside.
Wait a minute, George has got the loaded glove. James, turn around. CW, no. No.
Swing and a miss.
Shotgun.
The shotgun goes
1, 2, 3. Oh, my God.
The champion.
Here is your winner, and new AML Wrestling Champion, the Rottweiler, C.W. Anderson!
Everyone is standing.
He got the monkey off of his back, Brad. New AML Wrestling Champion, C.W. Anderson. Oh, my God.
Anderson has pursued this championship for years. He transformed his body. He transformed his soul.
Your new AML Wrestling Champion, the Rottweiler, C.W. Anderson.
But it was the spirits of his past that carried him to victory.
George South has laid out many competitors with that loaded glove. The guidance of Steve Corino enabled him to see it coming. Shotgun super kick, 1, 2, 3. New AML Wrestling Champion, the Rottweiler C.W. Anderson, together once again with Steve Corino. Holy crap, Brad, I need Tylenol. AML Wrestling Championship. It's time, Brad. Anderson, South, 3.
Maybe the best pure wrestling rivalry of the year. Maybe the best traditional grassroots pro wrestling rivalry of the year. It will culminate here on the biggest night of the AML Wrestling calendar year. And George South, the former champion, coming to the ring, and his backup is banged up.
You know, Brad, that was a question I had earlier. Is George going to come out with the family, or is George going to come out and we're going to have a one-on-one matchup? I guess that question has been answered. The Dawson brothers going through war with the Gym Nasty Boys. And Colby Corino a little beat up on the end of that one as well. Got to wonder how effective they're going to be here. Oh, wait a minute. George South has got a microphone. He hit a lot of them, didn't get them all though.
A lot of people at WrestleCade.
I ain't got nowhere to go, so I'm going to take her where I left off.
Making friends, Brad.
Yes, he is.
Look at your hiding, and it takes up 2 seats. I hope you bought 2 tickets, you fat pig.
Woo! Woo, it's 2019, George. Oh, wow.
Josh, why are you standing?
I knew that was coming. I've been working with you too long, Brad. Wow. Oh, why you gotta pick on Perry?
What?
Yeah, he showed the Dawsons last night. It was funny. If he were to win, that might be the outcome, Brad. You think they would have learned their lesson by now if they just let him get it out.
What you gonna do, Buckwheat? Hey, go steal
Buckwheat.
a TV.
Whoa.
Go steal a TV, Buckwheat. Get out of here, Richard Pryor. Get out of here. Yeah, stand back there so I can't see you. There ain't no lights there.
George is in rare form tonight.
Yes, sir. Slinging insults like drinks.
I want you to announce me as the new AML World Heavyweight Champion.
George, you know he can't do that. You got to go through the match and win the title first, sir. Oh, Daddy. There it is. The start. The Rottweiler, the champion, ECW original, the man, C.W. Anderson.
So many people around the room standing, throwing the CW hands in the air.
You heard our announcer, Perry Thompson, mention it. C.W. Anderson accompanied to the ring by Miss Brittany Marie, the Miss Elizabeth to C.W. Savage, always at his side. We've seen Friday night at Showcase of Champions, we saw All Ego Ethan Page try to use her to distract him. It was unsuccessful, but you gotta think the Dawsons definitely have that in the back of their mind. the emotional attachment C.W. Anderson has for Miss Brittany Marie. Will it be a positive or a negative for the champion here tonight, Brad?
Yeah, we have seen the devil on C.W. Anderson's shoulder, and lately he has reached great success listening to the angel on the other shoulder. But you're exactly right. It does present a vulnerability for someone to potentially capitalize on.
And C.W. Anderson looks to be in the best shape I have seen him in, known him for years. Top of his game. And
200 pounds even.
Yes, sir. He's got to think that the best shape of his life, he was on a mission to attain singles gold here at AML Wrestling, and that mission was accomplished several months ago at Lines in the Sand after dethroning George South. Lost their original matchup when George South was the champion. The rematch, he dethroned George South and became the new AML Wrestling champion with the help of his longtime partner and friend, Steve Carino. And this is number 3. The score is 1-1. The winner not only gets to say that they are the best, they also get to go home with that big beauty, the AML Wrestling Championship.
That they do, and it'll be very interesting to see. Anderson kind of had to learn how to control the evil that lives within him to become the champion. That's what Steve Carino re-emerged onto the scene to help him do. In recent months, we have seen him rely for emotional support on the angel at his side. It'll be very interesting to see which C.W. Anderson we get tonight. The ECWO extremist.
Oh!
You piece of trash!
Oh!
It'll be very interesting to see if we get the C.W. Anderson that men used to fear, or if we get the C.W. Anderson that's trying to walk on the right path, the path of the light side.
Brad, they say you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't smack C.W. Anderson.
Anderson, with intensity in his eyes, is talking to George South. I know how much Anderson respects George South, but at the same time, respect goes out the window when it comes time for what C.W. Anderson looks at as warfare.
You know, it's funny, C.W. Anderson, I was talking to him earlier, this weekend celebrated his wrestling anniversary. I'm not going to say the exact number just simply because I don't want anybody to think that C.W. is considered what they call old in professional wrestling. He is not, but he has been in this business for quite a while, an ECW original, and very rarely does C.W. Anderson get in the ring with somebody who has almost twice as much experience as he does. George South, 40-plus years being inside the squared circle.
Age is just a number. Anderson mentally, physically, emotionally in the best shape of his professional career. He's lean, he's fast, but in leaning out and dropping weight, he has not lost any of his punching power.
No, sir. Still one of the best in professional wrestling. You see it get cocked back. A lot of guys duck. A lot of guys cow away, put their hand up. They know the type of power that can come from a C.W. Anderson punch.
Yeah, let's not forget that shotgun super kick
Woo!
has claimed 2 victims this weekend already, and it
Yes,
may
sir.
claim a 3rd. And that was the deciding factor when Anderson won the championship from George South a few months back.
C.W. Anderson favoring those ribs and that left arm. C.W. Anderson knew coming into this weekend that he was going to have a hell of a mountain to climb, defending his title 3 times, and not just defenses, Brad. I mean 3 big-time defenses. Friday night at Showcase of Champions against All Ego Ethan Page, current 1/2 of the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions. And then last night at the WrestleCade Super Show against Rhino. So you know C.W. Anderson cannot be 100% going into this matchup.
3 very different opponents too. Ethan Page, very modern, very flashy in a way. Rhino, just blunt force trauma. George South, no frills, cover. George South, no frills. George South is like a football team that only runs 4 or 5 plays.
Yep, and they run them very well.
Exactly. They keep running them until they get to the end zone with them.
Yep. Grinding offense, similar to Navy, running the wishbone, running the option for all you football fans out there. They're going to run it till they can stop them, and that's what George South does. And a lot of mind tricks, right? You know, a lot of jaw jacking, a lot of not physical prowess, not speed, not power, but it's effective.
George South, maybe the best there is at manipulating every circumstance surrounding a match. The official, the fans, the opponent. If there's anyone else out there, George South can put everyone in the building in the exact mindset he needs them to be in for him to win.
You had it right the first time, Brad. Manipulating. Manipulating is what George South does. Manipulated Colby Carino. He's manipulated this crowd. Always not just 1 or 2 steps ahead, but 4, 5, 6, sometimes even 7 steps ahead. And the only time I've ever seen him have fear or not feel that he was in control was the last time he faced C.W. Anderson at Lines in the Sand with Steve Carino ringside.
As much as George South has been the master of the mind games, it really was the head games that Carino played on George that threw him off his game in their last championship encounter when George South lost the title and Anderson's knee hit the top buckle. Anderson on day 3 of hard-fought title defenses like we're talking about, his knee just hit the buckle, and that could be very problematic.
Yes, sir. That's the intelligence of Mr. Number 1 George South right there. Just bare minimum energy, just move out of the way, let your opponent injure themselves, and now, like a shark smelling blood in the water, George South is on the attack.
And you're not going to see George, come off the top rope and backflip onto that knee of C.W. Anderson. It's going to be grinding offense.
Could you imagine if he did, though? This place would go nuts. The internet would explode, just like Ricky Morton doing a Canadian Destroyer last night. Like, place would go crazy. Oh, look at C.W. favoring that knee now.
C.W. was favoring that knee last night against Rhino. I talked about it earlier. He's got a nasty gash on his leg from something in that match with Rhino, a very physical match.
George South, almost cerebral here. He's got a giant target on C.W. Anderson's leg, and George South is hitting bullseye after bullseye on it.
I would really like at some point in time for someone to explain to me why George South can bring whoever he wants to the ring with him at whatever time.
You know, there was a saying backstage, let George do whatever George wants to do. You know, you build up enough clout in professional wrestling and people kind of feel that, even though time after time he's bent rules, he's broken rules, still has a lot of weight in the world of professional wrestling.
I mean, that's fair, but where do you draw the line there? If 6 or 8 more people come under his tutelage, if he brings the whole George South Wrestling School to ringside with him, like, where do you draw the line there?
You do have a good point there, Brad.
Cover. Anderson with a kick out.
But I think the knowing the man that is C.W. Anderson, regardless of how many people would be out here with George South, he would still, it'd just be him and Brittany Marie against the world.
Brittany Marie trying to rally the fans here around her man. George South standing tall right now. Endearing himself to all the pretty ladies in the crowd.
Yes, sir, endearing. That's one way to put it, Brad. Yes, sir. George South has that look about him of just confidence, and that all it is, it's just a formality. Just lay him down, count to 3, and he'll walk out the new champion. But C.W. Anderson's got something to say about that.
Confidence really is the word. Last night, even in the face of the great Muda, George South showed no fear. He wasn't backing up. He really believes he can whoop any man that stands across from him.
Yeah, until he got a face full of that green mist. Great Muda showing the world he's still got it. Clap, clap, clap.
On the knee. Significantly worse than that gash he suffered is all the torment, quite frankly, that George South is putting on that knee. Anderson came down wrong, and it's been all George South ever since, a few moments back.
C.W. Anderson fighting up.
I don't think C.W. can walk on that knee. Oh! Bobby Eaton style neck breaker, dead center of the ring. George South talking to Brittany Marie instead of going for the cover, though.
A lot of these guys, they know that if they get to a vertical base, they'll be able to mount a little bit of offense. But as you said, he's kind of got a flat tire on that 24 inches on the Cadillac, brother.
Only place you can get pinned is on that canvas. But
Brittany Marie over there cheerleading C.W. Anderson on.
If you can't move, it's tough to get to your feet. Oh, George South is picking him apart. Another Bobby Eaton neck breaker.
Yes, sir, and that neck breaker is 10 times easier to apply because C.W. Anderson does not have a solid base to be able to fight it off, and it's just like a cat playing with a mouse right before it eats it. George South playing with C.W. Anderson, I believe.
He says, I got him. Anderson, the knee and the neck are now being worked on. Oh,
whoa!
CW with an abdominal stretch. Can he put his weight on that leg, though? Anderson holding ground there.
Very smart move from C.W. Anderson. The damaged left leg is basically just used as a leverage on George South. He doesn't have to put weight on it, but George South was able to shrug it off and counter that. And another neck breaker sends C.W. Anderson crashing down to the mat.
5 or 6 plays till we reach the end zone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Grind it out. Keep on matriculating down the field, as a great coach once said.
Down goes the knee pad. Bone on bone on the knee drop. That'll bust a man open.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Brad. Those pads, 9 times out of 10, are to protect the knees of the individual. So that's one of those. That just goes to show you how much damage he's wanting to apply. He's willing to damage his own knee to give punishment to the brow of C.W. Anderson.
George trying to rally the troops on the outside, and quite frankly, the only one that's moving steadily is Colby Carino. Both Dawsons are having a tough time getting around. I see Zane right there by the enforcer, by the Rottweiler. Colby Carino with a kick to the face for his uncle.
And that is an area of contention in this matchup. Colby Carino, growing up, seeing C.W. Anderson as an uncle, if not by blood, but definitely by name, almost feels the world felt that Colby Carino turned his back, and Zane getting a shot in of his own.
Colby Carino felt CW was never there for him. He felt his father was never there for him. He said, George South has been more of a father to me than my own father ever was.
I gotta find out what's in that Kool-Aid, Brad. The hug heard round the world. Colby Carino embracing Mr. Number 1 George South at our Ladies Night Out event. Shocked the world.
George has been in the driver's seat for several minutes here. Anderson, even in the best shape of his professional life, Anderson may be out of gas here. He may be worn down physically. The body can only absorb so much. Sleeper hold. Sleeper hold's a good move. Sleeper hold is a good move to change the tide quickly.
Not a lot of pressure needed. Not a lot of squatting power. Base, leg. George South, the wily veteran of the ring, knowing what the situation was and had the perfect counter in mind. Wow, just when you think C.W. Anderson is going to be able to turn the tide, George South wags his finger at you and says, hold my beer.
Maybe back in the 80s, not today though. Not today. Cover. Oh, I love Anderson sitting up on the kick out. Anderson making absolutely certain that his shoulders were off the canvas.
Goes to show you how important the AML Wrestling Championship is to C.W. Anderson, willing to fight through the pain to show that he is the man to hold the mantle of AML Wrestling.
George South, I got to be honest, is picking the champ apart here.
George is not known for his fireman's carries
You don't see this one very often anymore.
Oh, airplane spin.
Anderson slips out. Oh!
There's that punch we were talking about, Brad.
The concrete left. Anderson sliding D. Yes, sir. Anderson trying to make an offensive comeback. Zane Dawson is on the row.
Gotta be kidding me. Come on.
Colby Carino joining him just to make sure that James Hunter does not count that fall.
Ah. Those thrusts to the throat. You don't hear talk about it much, but those throat thrusts are illegal tactics.
Whoa, we almost had a collection of the minds. And
oh, he sent him into him. CW spine buster.
Spine on the pine.
2. Whoa, George South reverses. Got him.
What?
George
What?
South.
No! You have got to be kidding me! Brad!
George South, the veteran, you can't pull one past him! You cannot pull one past George South! He has won it!
George South able to reverse. Wait a minute. What do we have here? The locker room clearing out. C.W. Anderson clutching that title.
C.W. Anderson asking for the microphone on the PA. Anderson wants the public address microphone on.
What did we just witness? C.W. Anderson was able to hit the spine buster. What in the world is going on here, Brad?
We've got a new champion, but the former champ wants to address us all.
I'm going to make this real quick because we need to continue this show, but this moment right here is not about professional wrestling. It's not about the TV wars. Who has more Twitter followers? Who's over? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? This is about respect. The respect these fans, the boys, have for you. But no more than I do, George. Because being in Anderson for 26 years, I was brought up from Arn and Ole and Gene to respect the veterans and the people that have paved the way for myself and myself paving the way for these young guys right here. The 7 years I spent in Japan, I learned respect and honor. And when two warriors fought, one warrior was always better. And the warrior that was in defeat would drop to his knees and present the thing that was most precious to him to the victorious warrior. Ever since ECW, there's legends called me the most underrated wrestler in the history of our business. And this year, sharing the ring with you, George South, I gladly pass that honor to you. This AML belt means everything to me. The past year, I've transformed my body, my mind, to be the best C.W. Anderson that I ever was. And the AML belt belongs to the best wrestler here. George South. Today, that's you.
You know, CW, I'm not going to shake your hand because I think that stinks. But what I will do is I'll accept this World Heavyweight belt because of who it comes from. You see, C.W. Anderson, there's nothing left for me to do in professional wrestling. I'm not going anywhere. I got a lot of years left in me. But I am so proud of you and the AML locker room and especially these fans on WrestleCade. C.W. Anderson, thank you. I accept this belt, and I promise the next person in line is going to have to kick my ass to take it.
comes a time in every professional wrestler's career when it's come to an end and we must walk away. 27 years ago when I became C.W. Anderson, I knew that day would come. See, my entire life, I've been a high-level athlete. From the day I was born, the baseball gods reached down and turned my right arm into a thunderbolt. I became a top-shelf baseball player, drafted straight out of high school, transitioning to a top-shelf professional wrestler. And I knew I'd have to walk away from this business because I hold myself in high regards and I push myself beyond my own limits. And when I can't keep up, it's time to walk away. But that day's not today. Because AML just announced an I Quit match. George South versus C.W. Anderson for the AML title. Flashback, January 7th, 2001, my 30th birthday, and ECW's last pay-per-view, guilty as charged. I would have the match that would define my career. Tommy Dreamer versus C.W. Anderson in an I Quit match. And I uttered the two words that an Anderson is never supposed to say. I quit. So George South, AML decided the way to end this saga is an I Quit match. You see, the past year, you and I have been putting on pro wrestling clinics, showing that old school still works. But every good thing must come to an end. And what better way than the match I made infamous? February 29th, Brock Gym, Moxville, North Carolina, for the AML title. It's me and you, George South. I Quit match. I'm going to take you to the extreme, George South, and make you utter those words that I said I would never utter again. I'm going to go down swinging. And I hit harder than anyone, George, because I'm going to make you say, I quit. I quit. I quit.
All right, guys, I'll be in a minute. Let me get this thing hooked up. All right, let me check something. I'll be right there.
Hey, man, can you give us $1?
No, man, I ain't got no dollar.
Come on, man, it's just $1.
Guys, listen, I'm busy, okay? Does it look like I've got $1? Come on.
C.W. Anderson gave us $1.
C.W. Anderson, listen to me. I don't know what you're trying to pull here, but you got me so upset that I don't know what's going on. You got homeless people trying to get inside my head. C.W. Anderson, listen, this has got to stop. I have never hit somebody so hard in my life, and they keep coming at me. But I'm going to tell you something, C.W. Anderson, it's got to stop. You understand? I'm here today right where it all started for me, Charlotte, North Carolina, the streets where it all started. C.W. Anderson, February 29th, Brock Gym, Moxville, North Carolina, unsanctioned, which means nobody wanted to touch this. WWE didn't, NWA didn't, nobody wanted to touch this. But AML knew that this was getting out of hand, C.W. Anderson. So I tell you what, it's got to end. So February 29th, Brock Gym, Moxville, North Carolina, for my AML World Heavyweight title. You're the one that's experienced in I Quit matches, not me. And we all get so upset sometimes that we may say something that we really didn't mean. And I know that I said in that cage match that I was going to make you quit. And I'm not saying that the heat of battle didn't get me a little excited. So I guess now, CW, you've done went out and talked to Tommy Dreamer. You're the one that knows what these matches are about, but all I know is how to fight. So CW Anderson, you're coming after the most prized belt in all of professional sports. And the only way you're going to take it is I've got to say I quit. CW, I never quit nothing in my life, and I'm not about to start now. I'm afraid, I'm scared, and I don't know what's going to happen. When we were inside that cage, that was my home. But now it's going to be I Quit, unsanctioned, February 29th. C.W. Anderson, I'm going to come at you. with everything I got. You're not going to take something that I fought 41 years for. I know it's going to be a battle, but it's got to end, and it's going to end February 29th when I make you say, I quit. And when I do, CW, I want you to leave me alone. I don't want to see you around me no more, because you took something from me in that cage. You took something from me. And I'm trying to figure out what it was as I bled looking through that fence at you. And I saw you get back up. I knew that you want something that I've got. So CW, bring it. February 29th, I quit. Brock Gym, Moxville, North Carolina. It's going to end that night.
Now, Brad, there is a lot to this match, and we are going to try and let everybody know the franchise, Shane Douglas, the special in-ring referee / enforcer in this special unsanctioned I Quit match for the AML Wrestling Championship. Man, this one's going to be wild.
Yes, it is. Shane Douglas has been in some wars in his day. Multiple-time ECW World Heavyweight Champion. The greatest champion in ECW history in the toughest, roughest, wildest promotion of the past 30 years. And he's letting the announcer know, no rules. This thing must end.
Exactly. And I do want to make sure that everybody does understand that this match is unsanctioned by AML Wrestling, meaning that the AML Wrestling officials deny any liability or ownership over anything that may happen. Both of these men, C.W. Anderson, the challenger, the champion, George South, have both agreed to participate in this match. The only thing that AML Wrestling officials have agreed to is that this is for the AML Wrestling Championship.
We will recognize the winner as our champion, and AML's involvement pretty much ends there. The Rottweiler, who has been in some famous I Quit matches in his day.
Some would argue, and I'm one of those, that he wrestled in one of the greatest I Quit matches against Tommy Dreamer at ECW's last pay-per-view, the one that is still talked about today.
Yes,
so I gotta say that this match favors C.W. Anderson.
Two old gunslingers are finally going to square off in a last hurrah. Tell you I'm nervous, tell you I'm scared is an understatement. I define the match I Quit. I've been in them, had epic battles, and they're terrifying because you're never the same afterwards. George South, you uttered those two words saying you were going to make me say I quit last month, and you woke up that devil inside of me. It's so much better to call out the devil than to have to face him. And tonight, you have to face him. It ends tonight, George. Point blank, no more. One of us walks out, the AML champ, and the other one doesn't walk out at all. See you soon, George. This battle ends tonight.
C.W. Anderson and George South have had a war throughout 2019. C.W. Anderson came up short against his first meeting with George South, then defeated George South for the championship, then lost the championship to George South the day after WrestleCade, and then now we're here.
Listen to this crowd.
They're firmly in the corner of the Rottweiler, C.W. Anderson.
Yeah, but what did CW have to do to win that title from George? What kind of dark place did CW go to have to win that title the first time? He quite literally had a devil on his shoulder. And what will CW have to do to win it a second time, potentially?
Yeah, you bring up a good point. The last time these two were in the ring together was at our 5th anniversary celebration inside a steel cage. George South may have lost the match. C.W. Anderson picked up the victory, but George South walked out. leaving C.W. Anderson beaten. George South was bloodied. This was a war that we knew would not have a pretty ending. I never in my wildest dreams thought that we would get to this point. Anything goes. The only way you can win is to make your opponent say, I quit. No tap outs, no pinfalls, no count outs. You can't even make him pass out. And no man with any sense of pride is gonna say, I quit.
You know something, C.W. Anderson, it had to come down to this. You know, they put us in a cage and we both bled. And we fought all over North and South Carolina and up in Virginia. But it's never been this bad, C.W. Anderson. You see, you're coming after something that feeds my family. You're coming after something that's going to be my retirement. You're coming after a part of me, C.W. But tonight, it's going to end. Non-sanctioned. Nobody else will touch this but AML Championship Wrestling. Tonight, I quit. C.W., I never quit. Well, I did quit the football team because it was too tough. But I'm back tonight. I quit. Either me or you. And now there's a special stipulation. Your old friend, the franchise, St. Douglas from ECW, is going to be the special referee. But I got one question for you, CW. You think just because y'all were in ECW together that he likes you. But what I'm thinking is he don't like you, CW. And the thing about this is I don't like you either, so what are you going to do? So you're going to step into this ring tonight. Anything goes, non-sanctioned. You're coming to take what's mine, CW. I'm here to tell you that you're not going to take it because you've got to go through me, the most prized possession in all of professional sports, and you can't have it, CW. Come and get it.
Good Lord, George South going up to the bleachers.
Yeah, these fans here in Moxville do not like our AML Wrestling champion, that is for sure. And I want to point out, Brad, the linchpin to all of this. Both of these men agreed, regardless of who wins or loses, they have both said, this is the end, no matter what happens. And I got to tell you, C.W. Anderson has been posting some stuff on social media that may think that if he doesn't win this match, he may be done with professional wrestling. Very cryptic over the last several weeks from the Rottweiler.
The mood has changed in this room. There is an eerie calm, like right before a storm.
Hold on a second. I'm your stinking AML heavyweight champion. You don't treat me like your stinking wife. Listen, you fat piece of trash. You ain't still on. Get your fat out of that seat. No, listen. This ain't no ordinary match. Shut up, you piece of trash. Y'all people don't stand up, I'm taking my belt out of here.
The booze raining down here in Moxville, Brad.
No, hold on, this ain't no regular stinking wrestling match. I'm putting my stinking life on the line. And you dumb idiots sit there on your hot head. Stand up or I'm leaving. I'll walk right out of here. You shut up. Listen, I ain't stupid. I don't know what Tracy Jones and AML's trying to do to me. But St. Douglas, CW, everybody in this stinking building knows that both of you are in ECW together.
Right. I knew that was coming.
Oh, sit down! You can't spell ECW! You can't spell it, you idiot! Get out of here, you fat pig! Take both of your hot hands and walk out of here! Oh, that made me mad now! die yet. So I'm asking you, man to man, you punk, I'm asking you to walk out of this ring and turn your back on these stupid people. You understand? I embarrass you. Shut up and let me talk.
Shane Douglas telling C.W. Anderson, think about it.
Shane Douglas, I'm going to give you this microphone. Honestly, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. There ain't gonna be no I quit match, you idiot. No, Shane Douglas, I'm gonna give you this microphone. And you do what you know is in your stinking heart. You call your best friend a coward that he is. And then you take your ECW crap. And you get out of my life once and for all. Shut up!
Big words from our AML Wrestling champion. Asking C.W. Anderson just go ahead and get out of the ring.
Come on, Chance, man.
These people, these great fans of AML, came to see an I Quit match. The match I made infamous at ECW. Now you say you're looking at two extreme originals. That man is a former NWA heavyweight champ. That man is a former ECW heavyweight champ. He is going to call it right down the line. And if you want to know my answer, you better hope that belt is made of chocolate, because if you slap me again, I'm going to make you eat that damn thing.
Whoa! Big words from the challenger. I don't think George liked that, Brad.
And introducing the challenger from Raleigh, North Carolina, he weighing in 200 pounds, the Rottweiler, C.W. Anderson.
It's no mystery who they're cheering for.
Here is Alex from Charlotte, North Carolina, weighing in 235 pounds. He is the AML Wrestling champion, Mr. Number 1, George Silver.
Wow.
There is an eerie calm in this arena. Like I said, it feels like a storm is brewing as both men look at the championship. Shane Douglas giving last instructions to both men. Who wants it bad enough? Thank you, sir.
Oh, wait a
God.
minute. George South not even wasting time.
Every time I stand up, something bad happens.
So stop standing up, Brad. I've never seen George South take his jacket off that fast.
George South choking CW with the jacket again. There are no pinfalls, no tap outs. 2 words, 5 letters, I quit.
And all of it perfectly legal. Anything goes. Now, I know that word gets thrown around a lot in professional wrestling, but it legit, anything can happen. They could bring the entrance structure down on each other. They could tear the building apart. They could electrocute each other.
Mike Ramsey handing the mic to the franchise. Shane Douglas will be the one to determine when one man has said, I quit. Basically, all he's got to do is observe this fight. Oh!
Back elbow.
Yes, sir. No other rules.
Anderson raking the face of Mr. Number One.
Yeah, both of these men are going to do everything that they need to do, and it's about much more than a title.
Oh man, what has George got?
Oh, wait a minute.
Jeez almighty.
Here come the toys.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, my goodness.
George just hit a civilian. Good Lord. CW's got the chair. I don't think George was preparing for that. This is not really George South's style to have weapons all over the ring. He's playing really into the ECW cards here. Oh man. Oh, top of the chair.
Yeah, right on the ridge of the back support went C.W. Anderson's face. Oh my gosh.
The franchise says no blood, and good Lord.
George South got that kendo stick. Those things will leave welts.
It's one of the biggest damn kendo sticks I've ever seen, not for nothing. Oh my God!
Shattered it across the spine of C.W. Anderson. Look at the tatters of that thing.
George South with hatred in his eyes.
Oh, wait a minute. C.W. Anderson's busted open already.
Oh, my God, over the back of the head, my God. George South has waited a career. 40 years in the sport, George South has waited to be the champion, to be the top dog, to be the man. And he sees C.W. Anderson trying to take that from him.
Yeah, he's not going to let it go quietly, that's for sure. The old phrase, pry it from my cold, dead hand, springs to mind.
What did George say before the bell rang? He's fighting for his very life, and he's not ready to die tonight. George South is taking this thing so personally, so seriously. Anderson busted wide open, and George South like a pool cue, just jabbing Anderson.
Yeah, I got to think C.W. Anderson busted open his forehead right on the metal ridge of that chair.
Shards from that kendo stick. Oh, geez almighty, even the franchise is backing up.
Yeah, and if you can make an ECW original cringe, you're doing something violent, that's for sure.
Mr. Number One, George South trying to send CW into the chair. Anderson trying to block it. Oh, face first into the chair goes George South. It was George South who, oh God, George is busted open as well. Both men now busted open. Mere moments into this I Quit match, both men are busted open. The franchise, Shane Douglas, saying he'll call the match if George says I quit. Douglas trying to stay out of the way. Oh my God, what a brawl here. Oh, caning George South in the arm. CW caning him in the arm. Oh my God. Oh my God.
We did warn everybody at the top of this match that parental discretion is advised due to the violent nature.
George South says no. Good Lord, both men busted open. It did not take long for this thing to become uncomfortably violent. Good Lord.
Oh, and George is just dripping with blood, taking those shots from that kendo stick, face first into the chair.
The gash on his arm may be worse than the gash on his face. George South is losing a lot of blood. Oh, jeez. Ah, right over the top of the head. How much do these two men want to be the champion?
Oh, my goodness.
George South said, I'm fighting for my very life.
Last month, George South had the assistance of Colby Carino.
He said no.
They had the assistance of Colby Carino last month, but he does not have such help here tonight. This is mano a mano.
Shane Douglas showing concern for the wound on the arm of Mr. Number 1, George South, the AML Wrestling champion, and George going to the outside.
And you do not have to be in the ring to say I quit either.
Oh my God.
George South has introduced the trash can with all kinds of, oh no, wait a minute, what's that? Oh God, that's some rusty, nasty barbed wire, Brad.
Oh, that's gross. George South can barely even pick up that barbed wire without getting gashed open. Oh, that's unsettling. Oh, that's gross.
Using it like a whip.
Oh, he's whipping the challenger. Oh, God, around his neck. Oh. And Shane Douglas cannot stop the fight unless one man says I quit.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
No. Oh, my gosh, and we can already see the blood seeping from the back of C.W. Anderson.
Shane Douglas cannot stop the fight unless one man says I quit, and George South has got the barbed wire wrapping it around his fist. Oh, Jesus, God. Oh, God, George is hung up in the wire. Oh, jeez almighty.
All my years of watching and being involved in professional wrestling, Brad, I've never passed out during a match, but I just may.
Oh, my. George South is a bloody mess. C.W. Anderson is a bloody mess. Shane Douglas, even the former ECW champion, is trying to show some compassion for these men, but he has been put in the unenviable position. There's nothing he can do. This fight cannot end until one man says I quit. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh no. Oh!
Right into the barbed wire.
George South hung up in the wire. Oh God. Good Lord. That barbed wire is ripping George apart. Anderson just got stabbed by the wire. Oh, George South always thinking. Caught him in the throat. The AML champion, oh dear.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, no, no, no. Oh, he's choking Anderson with the wire. He said no.
No words just yet from the challenger, but you have got to imagine that barbed wire ripping at the throat of C.W. Anderson. What in the world is in that?
Oh, geez.
Oh, look at the jagged piece of table.
Oh. Oh, no.
That's like,
oh, no. Oh, God.
That's like laminate. Oh, my gosh. Raking across the back of C.W. Anderson. That is disgusting.
How bad do both of these men want to be the champion? Who will dig deeper? Who will go farther? Who will take the most and who will dish the most out? It is a fight here in Moxville, North Carolina. It is a fight for the AML Wrestling Championship, and George South is taking C.W. Anderson outside the ring.
Oh my gosh, those fans in the front row are going to get more than they bargained for. They're going to take some souvenirs home that I don't think they want to take home. The bodily fluids of these two men.
I cannot believe how violent this thing has gotten so quickly. Oh no. Oh! Went to blind Anderson, he caught the official. That's the outside the ring official, Mike Ramsey.
And Ramsey just got powdered like it was the 80s.
What's he got? Oh, Jesus! Oh, right in the face!
He took the belt off of the referee and he's now beating the challenger with it.
We got to get some help out here for Ramsey. Good Lord. At least the fight's away from us currently. Oh! Ref on the outside using the ring skirt. Using the ring skirt to clear his eyes, get his vision back. Shane Douglas has the microphone. Oh! Just like George South did a month ago.
Yes, sir. Shades of last month when George South had a belt wrapped around C.W. Anderson's neck.
George South said never. Oh!
There is that big, nasty left hand from the former MLB drafted baseball player C.W. Anderson.
But again, there's no pinfalls. If you knock him out, oh, George has got the wire again. Oh, that's so dangerous. Oh, that's so.
Yeah, you could lose an eye. Not to mention, what in the world? He's wrapping it around his own leg. Now, George South is not known for his innovation of offense. He's about as old school as you can get.
He's got that knee pad on, that knee brace. Oh, it didn't work.
Oh, my goodness. And he is gashed up on the thigh.
Oh, my God. Figure four with the wire cutting into the legs. The wire is cutting into the thighs of George South at the knees. George South is screaming.
Not only is that a painful move in itself, but with the barbed wire wrap, I can see the blood and the scratches and the gashes on George's leg from here, using whatever he could get his hands on to break that hold. I can see several fans in the audience with their mouths agape in astonishment and disgust. The level of violence these two are going to is just insane, Brad.
It takes a lot to leave me this shocked and awed. But you said it best, the level of violence that these two are taking. That barbed wire's in the center of the ring. Oh, no!
Oh! Swinging neck breaker right onto that barbed wire. And you got to think. And you got to think damage being done to the champion as well as the challenger.
That wire slid down Anderson's back. It's wrapped around his feet.
Just goes to show you how important this is. C.W. Anderson said, "You're going to have to kill me."
Oh, this is getting uncomfortable to watch. This is the last battle between these two great champions. And what is George? Oh, jeez.
Willing to damage his own flesh in order to inflict damage upon his opponent.
George said this ends right now. Good Lord, the barbs are digging into the flesh of George South.
Oh, the claw. Oh, no, Brad. If he gets that in, not only is the claw, but you've got the barbed wire in that equation. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if I can watch, Brad.
The barbed wire claw. C.W. Anderson fighting for his very life. Oh, the claw is on. That barbed wire is digging into the face of C.W. Oh, man. Anderson trying to fight up. Good Lord, these two have been through such a war.
Oh, wait a minute. He's trying to turn it. He's trying to turn it.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Oh, good Lord, a claw! George's barbed wire claw in his own face! Oh!
George South said the words.
Good Lord!
George South said, yes, I quit.
Good Lord!
C.W. Anderson is the new AML Wrestling champion, but at what cost, Brad?
Good God, both of these men have been through more than a war, more than a fight.
I know I said this jokingly, you know, they always say you should see the other guy, but in this instance, C.W. Anderson can walk around and say that with pride. The violence these two men went through, they both said it ends here tonight, and for their sake, I hope that's true, Brad.
Good Lord, what a brutal, violent, physical matchup here tonight. C.W. Anderson is once again the AML Wrestling champion, but it took a piece of his very soul to do it.
There aren't many men in AML Wrestling that can say they are a two-time AML Wrestling champion, but C.W. Anderson is. Wow. Hopefully now this war between South and Anderson is over.
Good Lord, what a fight, what a night we have had. A brand new champion.
Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Oh my goodness, I am Josh Gary, and for Brad Stutz, everybody here at AML Wrestling, we thank you guys for watching, and good night.
This is Brad Stutz here. We're in one of the back rooms of the AML Wrestling Training Center with probably the two men on the AML roster who have spent more times in locker rooms and more times in arenas and more time ringside than anyone else on the roster. Two great champions, the Rottweiler C.W. Anderson, Mr. Number One George South. And I wanted to get you boys together tonight and just talk a little bit about the magic that was created. One of the best pure wrestling rivalries that the South and even the country has seen in years. The trilogy of matches culminating with the most brutal, violent match in the history of AML Wrestling. It surprised me to learn that the two of you had never crossed paths in the ring before that time. That surprised me.
George and I have known each other for like almost 20 years and have never been in the ring together until that first night a little over a year ago when he was champion.
You know, Brad, what was so special was even before we went into the I Quit match that I had spoke to Magnum TA, a good friend, and he had even shared with me that you need to be careful with a match like that because it really does take a part of you away. And he shared, of course, with Pete and Dusty and all those matches, and we left everything we had in that match. Now, that is, and I've done a lot of things in this business, but that's probably one of my most cherished moments was just that feel of that. It's what we all try to attain being in this business, and most times you don't get that. I don't know if that setting and that atmosphere and just that intensity will ever be again. And it was just we just let it happen. And with Shane Douglas being such a big part of it and their history and the ECW, and then it was just. From the minute I went out that curtain, it makes you be proud of what you do, and just our feud, and it just worked. And then there's those special moments that you hang on to in pro wrestling, and I know I do. We left everything we had in that ring.
Yeah. You know, last year it was about this time last year we had our match where I took the belt from George in this place, and one of the final moves that broke my rib. Still had to finish the match. And the whole build-up of that with bringing Steve Corino back that we did, it was something that I will never forget because the whole place was electric. You know, the promoter, Tracy Meyer, said he's only cried one time in professional wrestling. That was the night Shawn Michaels kicked Ric Flair to retiring. He said the night George and I worked, he cried twice. We had people who had chills. We had people message us the whole next week, said it was like watching a Rocky movie. So it was one of the best matches I'd ever seen. The people were getting chills and crying and scared watching us because we made the people believe what we were doing.
This is a true story. I don't know if I've ever told you this. That match is the reason why I'm part of AML Wrestling. When I saw that that was the kind of stuff that AML was going to do, I was like, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of real pro wrestling and traditional pro wrestling. And I was so sad I did not get to call that first one, but I was privileged to get to call the second one and the third one. And that was a big reason why I wanted to come on board, was just seeing the magic in the building, like you talk about. At that stage in your career, it's pretty rare for you to be the junior man in the match. You're used to being the veteran. Was that an adjustment for you to kind of, because I'm sure at this point, at this stage in your career, you're used to having to walk some people through some delicate situations, but in a match with George, it's like taking a ride in a taxi cab. He's going to get you there.
It wasn't really an adjustment, and the one thing I take away from it is when they were all watching in the back, Brian Hawks told me later, he's sitting there, he said, what do you see in this match? And the whole locker room couldn't answer. He said, when's the last time you've ever seen CW not call a match? I put it all in George's hands. I would give him one idea, and he would run with it, and I put everything in him. He would tell me what to do, and I would do it, execute it. I had never thrown a drop kick before.
Yeah, that was so beautiful.
And he called a drop kick, and I hit it, and then I started throwing drop kicks.
Yeah, I sure did. And you know, there's two words, Brad, and you know this. There's so much respect, first of all, and then there's so much trust. And both of those is about disappeared in pro wrestling. But I can only be as bad as he can be good, and I can't be bad if I don't have a good guy. And for took more ability, I think, for CW to transcend that over to being the ultimate babyface. That's where he was used to being a heel. So some of my special times, just things that, years from now when you're sitting on the front porch and you're reminiscing, it will be something that was very, very special. My favorite that I, even in my daily prayer time every day, I thank the Lord that for the I Quit match. Just that intensity, and we knew we were going to have a few weapons, and just from the time I walked through that curtain and even the early smack into CW's face, and it was almost like the Rocky movie where they hit gloves. Earlier on in a few matches when I'd smack CW, he kind of backed away. But if you notice, you go back and watch the I Quit match, this time I smacked him, he didn't move. You see what I'm saying? So I got goosebumps now talking about it. But it's just that whole storyline. And yeah, you want the fans to enjoy it, but when we enjoy it, that's why we do what we do. But some of my most special times.
We did the WrestleCade match.
I was going to say the second match.
Yeah, the second match where, and there's a little story behind that one because I was supposed to go over, and everybody was in on the thing that I was putting George over, and nobody knew. I mean, everybody knew but George. Yeah. George was the last spine. So it was going to be spine buster, and I was going to grab him and roll him up, and he thought he had screwed up. But one of the things was when, after the match, the Dawsons come up to me and they said it was like watching the Ricky Steamboat sell. Every time George would hit me something, I would sell it the whole time. And Zane Dawson actually said, I got lost. I became a fan of watching. Steve Carino said when he watched this, he said, I became a fan watching y'all. He said, I couldn't be Steve Carino, I couldn't be Zane Dawson because I was that 12-year-old kid watching you guys for the WrestleCade match. And then build up to the I Quit. I remember, because when George and I have worked, it's never been something where it's like when I was at ECW where you get hit and you go, oh my God, I can't hardly move. But the first kendo stick he hit me with, I looked at Shane Douglas and said, can I quit now? He was bringing it, and in that match I lost way too much blood. I collapsed afterwards coming back, but it was all totally worth it because that was one of my most, because that's what I was known for, was the I Quit match. I made it infamous at ECW, and then to have a great one with George was kind of the icing on the cake for me.
Yeah, very special to have as we close. And even have Steve Carino say what he loved is my own hold beat me. And he said what a great ending to that feud is that. And then I was honored that he actually showed that to Terry Taylor later on at the NXT training facility. They got them to watch that match. So, and Terry Taylor won't play. I mean, if you stink, he'll tell you. And he loved it. He texted me later and said that he loved it. So it's just, it's so funny because it's like digging for gold. And you're out there every morning and you're shuffling for gold and you never find nothing. but every now and then you find those special pieces that you'll hang on to forever, and that it sucks you back in, because it is like a drug. You try to reach that every time, and of course you can't. But man, when it happens, it's very special.
That's what I love that says it's when it happens.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, we thank you so much. We are so appreciative of all your contributions to AML Wrestling, all the time away from your families, the bumps and bruises, the miles in the car, the miles on your bodies, and we especially thank you for this very personal look inside the ring at one of the best trilogies ever in the history of wrestling in the South. Gentlemen, best of luck to you going forward, and thank you so much for sharing this very personal look inside the ring with our fans of AML Wrestling.
Thank you, Bo.
Thanks, guys.